Canadians started this year with Justin Trudeau as Prime Minister, but that changed quickly on January 6th, to be exact, when Justin Trudeau stepped down, saying he didn't have the support of his caucus to stay on. At that,
every morning I've woken up as Prime Minister. I've been inspired by the resilience, the generosity, and the determination of Canadians. It is the driving force of every single day I have the privilege of serving in this office. That is why, since 2015, I've fought for this country, for you.
Members of Canada's ruling Liberal Party have elected a successor to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Economist Mark Carney won the race, taking nearly 86% of the votes.
I, Mark Carney, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty, King Charles III, King of Canada, his heirs and successors. I, Mark Carney, do solemnly and sincerely swear that I shall be a true and faithful servant to His Majesty King Charles III.
2025 was supposed to be the year Canada fell. Political uncertainty, economic shocks, and international pressures converged, and everyone expected the storm to break this nation. Markets were jittery, governments seemed frozen, and the world was watching, waiting for Canada to crumble. But no one expected what came next. While the rest of the globe panicked, Canada quietly executed moves that no one saw coming, moves that would define the nation for years to come. The year began with tension that could be felt in every boardroom and political office. Steel and aluminum tariffs had been doubled overnight. Industries were reeling, families were worried about jobs, and investors were fleeing. The narrative was grim. Canada was at the mercy of global powers, at the mercy of an unpredictable president in Washington, and at the mercy of its own political unrest. The air was thick with fear, and confidence in leadership was collapsing. Amid this chaos, Canada made choices that would shock the world. Decisions were taken in quiet rooms, behind closed doors, away from cameras and headlines, and yet their effects would ripple across the entire country. Diplomatic channels were quietly activated. Strategic talks with global powers began immediately, focusing on protecting trade, stabilizing markets, and securing Canadian interests without confrontation. It was a dance of precision. Every word measured, every gesture intentional, every action calculated to prevent disaster. Simultaneously, domestic economic strategies were put into motion. Tax reforms were implemented to stabilize the middle class and to stimulate small businesses, which had been hit hardest by international uncertainty. National infrastructure projects were fast-tracked, creating jobs and signaling a government that could act decisively even under pressure. Every move had a dual purpose: immediate relief and long-term resilience. The message was clear. Canada was taking control of its own destiny.
Conversation a year ago. Is this the outcome you think you would have predicted? And what do you attribute to it?
Well, I mean, Pierre Poilievre had the gimme election of all gimme elections. It seemed to me ridiculous, crazy to imagine that Liberals could somehow win the election. We were all thinking, well, how do we save a few seats? Rescue a few seats here. But the thing is that Justin Trudeau had this theory that if they could get NDP votes, then they would win the election. And he was right about that. His method, though, of getting there was saying, we're going to kill resource development, we're going to kill everything from pipelines to aquaculture, and we're going to talk about social justice a whole lot. We ended up with an economy that was like in the ones in terms of growth, and we want jobs. And so, Carney comes in with a proven record on that. Trump on the other side threatening the country. People wanted stability, they wanted to get somebody serious, and they wanted jobs. And so, it was an utterly unexpected outcome, but I think, one where Canadians really decided, we got to do a U-turn here, but they wanted somebody serious.
Politically, the leadership navigated treacherous waters with a combination of calm and clarity. In a year when many would have faltered, leadership decisions reinforced national confidence. Public statements were short, precise, and unflinching. There was no room for theatrics, no space for slogans or empty promises. The focus was on outcomes, not optics. Canadians were watching closely, and slowly, they began to believe again. And then came the turning point. In what seemed impossible just weeks earlier, Canadians, investors, and the world realized Canada wasn't just surviving the storm, it was untouchable. Confidence surged. Stock markets, which had been in free fall, began to stabilize. Employment numbers improved. Political discourse, once dominated by fear, started to reflect a sense of calm determination. The nation had shifted from anxiety to assurance, and it happened faster than anyone could have imagined. No drama, no hype, just results. While other countries were floundering, Canada acted. Every challenge was met with strategy, every threat countered with planning, and every criticism addressed with evidence and execution. Trade tensions, which could have crippled the economy, were handled with an unprecedented mix of patience and assertiveness. Diplomatic channels with the United States were recalibrated. The 51st state rhetoric, which had stirred anger and confusion, was addressed directly. Canada's message was firm: this nation would not be bullied. National sovereignty was non-negotiable, and the world was forced to take notice. The economy, once teetering on the brink, was transformed through pragmatic measures. Federal internal trade barriers were removed, income tax adjustments provided relief to the working class, and large-scale projects accelerated growth. The country was not just surviving, it was adapting, innovating, and asserting its resilience. Each calculated step strengthened Canada's position domestically and internationally. The effect was profound. Canadians felt pride in their leadership and their nation, a confidence that had been missing for years. As the months unfolded, the challenges didn't vanish. They intensified. Tariffs, digital services tax disputes, and global trade negotiations created pressure points that could have undone even the strongest administration. Yet Canada responded with a measured approach. Strategic patience replaced panic. Every meeting, every phone call, every negotiation was designed to maximize leverage and minimize exposure. The world saw a Canada that could stare down unpredictability without flinching. Even the most volatile political adversaries couldn't derail the narrative. Where others relied on aggression, confrontation, and division, Canada relied on unity, pragmatism, and calm execution. The nation's leadership understood something crucial. Chaos abroad did not have to translate to chaos at home. By controlling what could be controlled and responding decisively to what could not, Canada maintained its sovereignty and strengthened its global position. By mid-year, the impact was undeniable. Economists, political analysts, and journalists marveled at how quickly Canada had regained stability. Markets rebounded, trade negotiations progressed, and the national mood transformed from anxiety to cautious optimism. The secret moves, the careful, deliberate actions taken behind the scenes, had become visible in their results. Canada had effectively rewritten the rules for survival under pressure. The latter half of the year was a demonstration of sustained excellence. Canada didn't just react to crises, it anticipated them. Strategic forecasting allowed the nation to mitigate risks before they escalated. Leadership maintained clarity and consistency, inspiring both public trust and international respect.